everybody, welcome to another episode of MMA and Coffee. On this episode, we have a lot of fights coming up, so I'm just going to go through them really quick, give a couple predictions. If there's a fight I didn't get to cover, mention it in the comments below and I'll respond and we can talk about it there. The first fight I want to talk about is Namajunas against Paige VanZant. Really quickly, I give this one to Paige. Just based on previous fights, I think what's going to happen is she's going to take her down, use that pressure that she's known for, and tire her out and potentially third round submit her. The only way I see Rose winning this is catching Paige in a submission, either hurting her really quick on the feet and catching her in a fast submission. If this was a couple fights back, I might have gave Rose the advantage, but to me, Paige is still getting better. Her early fights, she was just taking them down and kind of just is a grueling grappling fight. Now she's starting to submit people, so I think third round she'll probably submit Rose. Fight will look similar to the Barboza fight against Rose. The next fight I want to talk about is Edson Barboza against Tony Ferguson. In this fight, I think the advantages are for Barboza is his kicks. Plain and simple, he's got amazing kicks. The advantage I would give for Tony is his boxing, his hands much better on the feet with his hands, whereas Barboza has the better kicks. I give Tony the advantage on the ground simply because he submitted several people and he uses jiu-jitsu very offensively. So if it goes to the ground, I can see Tony submitting. If it stays on the feet, I can see Tony catching him. Basically in this fight, I see Tony has more ways of winning it. He can win it on the ground or he can win it on the feet with his hands. The best way Barboza could win is kicks in the decision. So my prediction is Tony Ferguson. The next fight I want to talk about is Frankie Edgar versus Chad Mendes. This is an interesting fight. At the same time, I pretty much feel like it's going to look just like Frankie against Uriah Faber. The only difference is Chad Mendes has a little bit more power. He throws more combinations with his punches. Pretty much in every Frankie fight, he does get hit, so I can see Frankie bleeding, but pulling it out through a decision. Also, I pretty much just want Frankie to win, so he gets to fight the winner of the Aldo and McGregor fight. Simply put, tired of seeing Chad Mendes fight for the title. He's fought Aldo twice, McGregor once. Frankie's only fought Aldo once. So I would much rather see Frankie get another crack at the title. Alright, so here's my predictions for UFC 194. Let's start off with Max Holloway against Jeremy Stephens. I think the only advantage Jeremy Stephens has is punching power. I give this one to Max Holloway. To me, Max Holloway has more weapons. He mixes it up very well on the feet. And he's still getting better. That's the crazy thing. I think a lot of people forget how young he is. So for that fight, I give it to Max Holloway for sure. Okay, so Damian Maia against Gunnar Nelson. Obviously, you would think Damian Maia has the advantage in the jiu-jitsu, the grappling part, but at the same time, Gunnar Nelson is no slouch. I think he'll be able to defend any of Damian's offense on the ground. I actually have Gunnar winning this, either decision or he keeps it on the feet and beats him on the feet for sure. Alright, so Jacare Souza against Yoel Romero. This is an interesting fight. It's also, in my opinion, a contender fight in the middleweight division. Very interesting. You have Jacare, who's a great grappler in jiu-jitsu, and Romero, who's an Olympic wrestler. So it's kind of a toss-up. Part of me wants to give it to Jacare. If Romero pulls it off somehow, I wouldn't be surprised either, because dude's a freak athlete. I don't even know how he makes it to that weight class. Okay, so now we're on to the middleweight title. Chris Weidman against Luke Rockhold. So, up until this point, I've always gone against Chris Weidman. It's kind of funny because he said, stop doubting him, join the team. So, have I joined the team? No, but at the same time, until he loses, I'm not going to vote against him. It's kind of interesting. So with Chris Weidman, there's nothing really about him or his fights that's just like, oh wow, he's amazing. Like there's not one thing that he does great, but he's so well-rounded and he's good at everything. I think that's where he has advantages over a lot of fighters. That and his size. I mean, when he fought Anderson, Machida, and Vitor, he was a lot bigger. In this fight, I don't see him having that same advantage as far as the size. I think the advantages Luke has is the jiu-jitsu and his kicks, where I give Weidman the advantage is probably wrestling and his punches. He does have punching power with his hands, and I think in the Vitor fight, Weidman rocked him before he went to the ground. So Weidman does have heavy hands. He's slow, yes, but he does have heavy hands. So I'm going to give it to him. How he wins it, I don't know, but this should be a great fight. I think Rockhold will put up a better fight than Vitor did, for sure. Alright, so the main event, the fight that everyone's talking about, Jose Aldo against Conor McGregor. This is an interesting fight. In my opinion, it's a toss-up. I have no idea who's going to win, but I do have a pretty good idea how they would win. Let's start off with Conor McGregor. What he's going to want to do is land that left. He's also going to want to take advantage of the reach advantage that he has against Aldo. He's great at all those things. The tell of this fight, though, is Aldo's leg kicks. Everyone's been talking about it, and there's a reason why they're talking about it. If Aldo can land those kicks, then it's going to take away a lot of that punching power that Conor has in his left. So the question is, does Conor have an answer for the kicks? Is he going to check them? Most of his fights, he doesn't check kicks. Then again, most fights don't last long, so he might get away with it if he can put Aldo out early. But in my opinion, if Aldo lands those kicks, he's going to have a long night. For Aldo, though, it isn't just the kicks. I think the way to counter a southpaw is that right overhand. Only thing is, Conor's great at distance and countering, moving out the way. So, but Aldo's fast. He has a great 1-2, and then he can follow up with the leg kicks. In my opinion, I think in the first 2 rounds, Aldo should have a speed advantage. As the fight goes on, he should slow down, but at the same time, we haven't seen Conor fight a 4 or 5 round fight. We don't know how much he'll slow down because he does go for the finish. He's using a lot of energy. So, first 2 rounds, Aldo should have a speed advantage. If it's in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round, I'm going to assume that Aldo's been successful with the leg kicks. So I kind of give him the advantage at that. So for me, Conor, his key to victory is beginning rounds, do what he always does. You know, get in their face, make them overcommit, counter them, or recently he's actually been more offensive rather than counter fighting. So he mixes up the kicks and then he catches you with the left. In my opinion, I think his kicks are more or less setups for the left. It's a way for him to mix it up and get you forgetting about the left, and then he catches you with it. Now, I'm not saying Conor doesn't have power in his kicks or they aren't effective. All I'm saying is when he finishes the fight, it's because he landed the left, they go down, and he finishes the fight. So until he's knocking people out with his kicks, I'm going to tell you, you need to worry more about the left. So for me in this fight, it's whether or not Conor has an answer for the leg kicks and whether or not Aldo has an answer for the left. That's what I think. What do you think? Do you agree? Disagree? Let me know in the comments below, and I'm definitely going to release another video after the fights talking about it. So I can't wait. See you next time.